So you want to be normal. So you just want to be like everybody else that roams the world, not knowing the power that's in them. Being fine with being mediocre. You want to go back to who you were, huh, David?
If you're going to reach your potential as an entrepreneur, you need to have a why that's bigger than yourself. Start with your immediate why and build from it. So the immediate why is that I want to have financial freedom. The next immediate why is I want to create a better life for my family. The next why is, I honestly want to make a bigger impact in the world. And last is, I want to leave a legacy that I'm proud of, so that when I leave this life, there's something else.
Fear is never reaching your potential.
That's it.
That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man.
Yep.
And you look back and go, God, I could have been great.
Yep.
I could have been great.
Not only every day matters, man, but every moment matters. Today is a gift. You wake up in the morning, it's early, the alarm's going off, you don't want to get up, but today's a gift. Really, the likelihood of me being me right now is a miracle. And it could end at a moment's notice, and eventually it will end. Why not maximize the gift I've been given through that perspective and make today the greatest day of all time? Or at least make this a day that progresses me towards something that matters to me. Let's not waste this moment in time. Let's take full advantage.
If you want it as bad as I hear you want it, and if this is your year, and if this is your moment, and if you're sick and tired, and it's your time, these 31 days is exactly when you triple down, when you 4X, 5X down in your hustle. While everybody's at the pool drinking rosé, this is when you put in the grinding hours and get ready for your master plan.
Hard work is the answer. Hard work is the solution. If you want to be a high performer, if you want to get somewhere that most people are not, you want to be the exception, it requires you to be exceptional. It requires more work than everybody else.
How much time do you waste? So then I get the class to vote. How many of you waste 10 hours a day? It's like 10% of the kids will put up their hands. Well, when you get to like 6 hours a day, 80% of the people put up their hands. So then we do the arithmetic, 6 hours a day. It's 42 hours a week. So let's call that a work week, 40 hours a week. So that's a work week. Let's say, what's your time worth? So I say, well, let's assume your time's worth $50 an hour, which I think is an underestimate, but whatever. Let's call it 50. We could call it 25, but we'll call it 50. If that's $2,000 a week you're wasting. It's $100,000 a year. It's like, how much better would your life be if you weren't wasting $100,000 a year? It's like, what is that over 40 years? $4 million. It's like, you're rich. You don't even know it. Quit wasting time.
I believe that God had this big chart in heaven. And when you get there, and God says, hey man, great job, you made it to heaven. And he rips this page down, and now it says David Goggins' chart. And he says, look at this. And I'm reading it. I go, what is this? He goes, how much do you weigh? 300 pounds. What did you do? I was a pest control guy for 40 years. He says, this is what you were supposed to be. A 185-pound person, be able to run 205 miles. Break the pull-up record, motivate people, energize people, make them driven, make them passionate, make them find more. So am I in heaven or in hell? And now when I go to heaven, what I want God to look at me and say is, as you were living, I'm the all-knowing man. I had to get a damn marker out and write more as you were living. I want to impress him.
So when things get challenging and they're hard, and it feels like it's just easy to quit, people that want to perform at their best, reach their goals, achieve their dreams, do so by keeping it on the calendar, not quitting on themselves.
The great thing about life is it's always your next move. Your next move that counts. No matter where you are, you could be, look, I was dead broke, my electric bill was being shut off. And there were people even like worse off than I was. It doesn't matter. You could change your life if you want to. It's always your next decision.
I invite everyone, when you feel that calling, what I had to learn to do was to not question my intuition. So it's like, if your intuition says turn left, you don't have to know why. in order to follow it. You don't even have to know where you're going in order to get to exactly where you need to be. But if you follow your guidance, if you follow your intuition, you will be guided in the right place at the right time with the right people in the right way. Follow the guidance.
You can set yourself a goal that you can attain, and there's not going to be much glory in it to begin with. Because if you're not in very good shape, the goal that you could attain tomorrow isn't very glorious. But it's a hell of a lot better than nothing, and it beats the hell out of bitterness, and it's way better than blaming someone else. It's way less dangerous. And you could do it.
I tell him, if I wanted to, I can run a marathon. He laughs at me. Mr. Evans, that's the most stupidest thing I've heard in all of my years of practicing medicine. If you run a marathon, you will die on that course. And that was the day that I started this journey. I got on the treadmill and failed miserably, Scott. Couldn't run longer than 15 seconds. Thought the doctor was right. Maybe I shouldn't be a runner. And as I was going home, Scott, I reached out to the doorknob and I had this tattoo on my wrist. It says, "No struggle, no progress." It's from the famous speech from Frederick Douglass. I seen that tattoo as I was turning the doorknob, and I knew, at that point, I knew what I had to do. I had to go through the struggle.
To those who have everything, more will be given. From those who have nothing, everything will be taken. It's like what's very pessimistic in some sense, because it means that as you start to fail, you fail more and more rapidly. But it also means that as you start to succeed, you succeed more and more rapidly. And so you take an incremental step, and well, now you can lift 55 pounds instead of 52.5 pounds. You think, well, what the hell's that? It's like, it's one step on a very long journey. And so it starts to compound on you. So a small step today puts you in a position to take a slightly bigger step the next day. And then that puts you in a position to take a slightly bigger step the next day. And you do that for 2 or 3 years, man, you're starting to stride.
You can define purpose in probably several different ways. I would find it hard to determine a purpose that didn't better serve somebody else outside of you. Is it possible? Probably. I would argue that would be really hard to do. Purpose meaning, what kind of impact are you creating on others?
Back when I was growing up, the song came out. All I need is a miracle. Well, guess what? That miracle ain't coming. There is no perfect time to start. You gotta start now with changing your life. We're all being tested in life. And guess what? This is one test you can't cheat on.
You've set this as a goal for yourself. And it's the hardest thing for you to do. That's when you do it. That's actually the time where you have to, and that's a discipline that I refuse to fail at.
A lot of times I'll be in a 200-mile run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken. I start to say, what if I can pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office, he looked at me and said, there's only been 35 African Americans in 70 years make it through. You know what I said to myself? What if I can be the 36th? It's the what if I can pull off a fucking miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be? And just me talking about that, I have the hair going up on my arms because it makes me just like, what if?
I think society also dictates the parameters of what we think is achievable. And like, how many times do you hear this line? You know, stick to your lane, know your place, grow up, all of these like parameters. Well, everyone that we revere in the planet today, Larry Page, Elon Musk, Jean-Paul Youve, Bill Gates, Henry Ford, Steve Jobs, any of these people didn't stick to their lane.
I was leaving a lot on the table, and that's what scares me the most. I'm good now, but what haunts me is that at 24 years old, I was 300 pounds, and if I didn't make a right turn, if I decided to just give in to the feelings I had, I would have died a 300 or 400 pound man working some minimum wage job in my casket, never knowing that I was this guy.
Being average is the ultimate failure to me in life, and that means that just doing enough to get by is such bullshit to me. If you have more to give the world and you sit on your hands and do nothing about it, that drives me crazy. It means you could have helped more people. It means you could have been more to your family. It means you could have supplied or helped people that you love what they need. You help your church more. I mean, I don't care what it is, but just to be average. Now, you don't have to be extraordinary at everything, but don't be average in everything.
You actually said, oh shit, I'm 25. I can do for 5 years. I'll be a cook for 6 months. I'll be an architect for 6 months. I'll flip fucking garage sale shit for 6 months. I'll start a sneaker brand for 6. If you did that and realize at 30, after 5 years of that, you're still young as fuck, then you win. Go and travel and learn. Go and start that business that you've always wanted. Hook up with those 3 teammates and start that band you've always wanted. This is the time to be massively risk oriented. I know that this is when you're supposed to grow up and go see the world, but guess what? The world isn't what mommy and daddy told you. The world is exactly going to be what it's going to be, with or without the way you thought it was going to be.
And I'm thinking about the Winston Churchill quote: "Success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm." And I thought about what has been the thread that keeps me going, keeps me energized, keeps me excited about every new thing I do, even when sometimes they collapse in furious, purifying flames of failure, right? And it was that enthusiasm. Enthusiasm was, it was the endorphin of the spirit that helped me keep going through the pain.